Yeah. Good evening,
Right.
ma'am,
Good evening. So,
and
hi,
Happy
Raj.
New Year.
Yes, thank you, and wish you the same, a very prosperous one at that. Right. So, hi, Raj Ranjan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Raj. I believe this is the first time we are interacting on this platform
Oh, this is the third time.
with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I had
Uh,
interacted with you way back in May last year, and
I
then
see.
sometimes
Okay,
in
right.
July or August.
So
I
it's
mean,
been
in
close to
May, when
it's
I
been quite a
had,
few months.
yeah, when I had interacted you with for the first time, you were in America, maybe
I
California.
I see. Yes, yes. I was back
Yeah.
in May. I would have been in California last year.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, Raj. It's glad you remember these details. Right. So, did you continue taking sessions on attending sessions on Clappingo, or did you take a break?
Yeah. Yeah. I have been taking it regularly since that
Okay.
time,
Okay.
and it's around 180, 84 maybe.
I see. Okay. Great. I hope you have got the utility or the benefit from joining this platform. Some kind of
Yeah.
improvement you have experienced.
Yes, of course.
Great. So how have you been? And since then, anything new or any update that you would like to sort of uh, give me in terms of your professional life or anything that you would like to share since the last time we spoke?
My life is almost similar. Only thing is that I have improved as
Hmm.
far as my speaking is concerned, the confidence and
Okay.
fluency maybe. But
Okay.
I need to work more on my pronunciation. That is
Mm-hmm.
what I have been being suggested in recent
Correct.
time with other tutors, and
Okay.
that's it. Because I wanted to be a tutor, especially online, because
Mm-hmm.
I have been in the teaching profession and I wanted to add speaking English in horizon of my teaching.
Okay.
So
Great.
that's
So
I'm working on that, and
you
I'm
are inching closer to that
yeah,
target. Good.
yeah.
Great. So, Raj, tell me, I mean, if you can just help me recall where you are from, just refresh my memory with regard to where
uh,
you are from and
yeah.
what do you do?
I'm from Patna, and
Hmm.
like I said, I'm a tutor, so I teach maths and English up to 10th and
Okay.
accounts at +2.
Okay.
And I have been trying to add a speaking
Hmm.
English.
Right.
I have been trying to add the spoken English classes
Right. So when you say you
in my
teach
horizon
English
of teaching.
to your
Yeah.
students, so you take sessions, you take lectures for students who are studying in what? Ninth standard, 10th standard,
Yeah, 9th or 10th.
ninth as well as 10th.
Yeah.
Both. Okay. So what do you focus on? What exactly do you teach in English?
Generally, I teach English grammar only.
Okay.
And sometimes if the students like, I teach home tuitions, or there is a coaching center as well. But
Okay.
if the students are interested in the textbook as well,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I help with them with that.
Okay.
Otherwise, generally I take grammar
I
classes.
grammar classes. Okay. Yes, of course. Grammar is the foundation of any language. I mean, if you look at any language for that matter, getting the grammar right is the most important factor. Thereafter, one can look at expanding one's vocabulary beyond
Right.
what one already knows. Right.
Yeah.
So, how is the weather in Patna? It seems to be quite chilly because even indoors you're wearing a cap.
Yeah, it is. Of
Hmm.
course. I mean, the temperature is around 13 degree, maybe
Okay,
13 degree.
pleasant. Okay, so you just need to sort of throw over a sweater or a jacket sort of a thing when you're going out, and maybe a
Yeah.
woolen cap would also help. Right. Because
Right.
typically, I know those parts of our country do experience harsh winters also sometimes, right? From Delhi,
Right.
Patna, and here
Yeah.
in Maharashtra, Mumbai doesn't experience harsh winters at all, but the weather is sometimes quite pleasant, especially in the evening. The temperature drops to 18, 20 degrees, sometimes maximum 18. I think the minimum temperature is 18. I mean, the maximum extent to which the temperature drops is 18. Not, I don't think it drops beyond that usually, and the weather is quite pleasant. So for us, that is the closest we can get to a proper winter season.
So like I said, the temperature is 13. It is right now, it is around 13, and
Hmm.
it will dip down to 9, maybe 9 or 8
Right,
during
as
the
the
late
night
night.
progresses.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. So, Raj, what else has been going on? I mean, so tell me about your educational background. In which stream have you completed your graduation?
So I'm a BCom graduate from Delhi
Okay,
University.
Delhi University. So, were you living in Delhi? Of course, I mean, it must have been a regular course, and you were living in Delhi back
Uh,
then when you were pursuing your graduation.
yeah, I had been in Delhi for almost 3.5 years
Okay.
during those times.
So, how would you
But my
sort of?
course was not
Mhm.
a regular one. It was from like
Okay,
DUSOL, School of Open Learning,
I see.
because
Okay,
simultaneously I was pursuing CA,
I see.
Chartered
Okay,
Accountancy.
great. So could you complete the course?
No, I couldn't,
I see. Okay,
and
okay.
I had to come back to Patna.
Right, right. That's okay. See, whatever one should believe in, whatever happens, happens for the best. And you are also working hard towards your target. That's what matters. I mean, even if you give
Right.
up something, it is most likely because you are good at something else. And as long as you're working towards any target, it is good. It should be considered as a sign of progress rather than giving up everything and just wasting your time in self pity and valuing in self pity. Right. So good thing. I mean, you are into the teaching profession also, but did you always want to be in this profession, teaching profession? Did you always want to be a teacher?
Not exactly, but when I was in ninth or 10th, when I started liking, I mean, I
Mm.
started working on my education. Before that, I was not even interested in reading, and
Oh, okay. Mm.
I wanted to become something else, which I couldn't get.
Mm.
And after that, I tried to focus on study, and I tried hard, but
Good.
that was the time when I realized that if I am able to grasp something, and then someone is ready to take my help,
Mm.
I'm good at it. If I'm
Great.
helping my colleagues or my classmates or my
Mm.
friends, they are able to grasp that. So I had that in back in my
Very
mind that I can be a tutor.
great.
So that's what when I started teaching, like
Mm.
taking home tuitions, and after that I thought that this is something where I can find myself a job as well, like
Mm.
teaching English, and I can make a living out of this.
Great. Great. This Raj reminds me of my experience during the time when I was pursuing my master. So when you spoke about the fact that when you were explaining concepts, teaching basically to your classmates and all, and they were able to understand better than what they would have understood when the professor was teaching them.
Right,
So I mean that gives you a sign. I mean, that is an indication that you are a fairly good teacher. The same thing happened with me also. Though I had always wanted to be, there was no doubt, but my determination solidified when the same thing used to happen with me. My friends used to come to me right after the class to get clarity on certain concepts, clarify their doubts, and after my explanation, they would be completely confident about that topic. But not until then. So
yeah,
these things are indications that someone can be a good teacher, explaining the same concept in a different way, in a way that students would understand. Because
right, right.
uh, teaching is not just about having a lot of subject knowledge. But then, what do you think? What else is required to be a teacher, especially when you talk about teaching at the secondary or lower grades? uh, because I'm not really taught it, taught in any of the lower grades as such. I've always taught. I started my teaching career teaching students pursuing undergraduations. I mean, they were pursuing graduation already, so they were
Yeah,
already grown up kids. So,
right.
what do you think are uh, some of the essential qualities that a person must have to become a good teacher, especially in the lower grades? And then we'll talk about teachers teaching at the higher grades, like 12th and beyond. So, any
So
essential?
I think that first thing that everybody should have patience, if because that is must required in this field, because the students and the kids are not able to grasp easily, and sometimes you have to be very patient with them.
Hmm.
If you are unnecessarily shouting at them, it is
Hmm. Correct.
not going to help them. Instead, it will
It puts a
backfire.
lot of stress
Yeah,
on them, and perhaps they may start to dislike not only the subject but you also in
yeah.
the
So
process.
the two qualities. One should be sound enough in not in the subject one has to teach, and then one should be patient and should always eager to look through the perspective of the child, because different childs have different demands. So
Mm.
it's not that if I'm teaching in a way that everybody would understand. If somebody is coming to me and I have to explain it again
Mm.
and again, so I will have to look forward to try different things to teach
Correct.
him or
Maybe
her.
change your methodology, a
Yeah,
pedagogy, a different pedagogy or methodology would work for that student or that batch, basically.
yeah, right.
Right. But to what extent do you prepare before your lectures sessions?
So I generally prepare the content first,
Hmm.
because if I have to teach one subject or one chapter, I
Hmm.
go through that chapter as deep as I can. And
Hmm.
after preparing that, I just try to make it more and more simple
Hmm. Right.
for the students. For example, if I take a simple like tens,
Hmm.
if I have to teach tens, then teaching various people, like the way I have been taught,
Hmm.
I, I was never able to understand at the school level. At
Hmm.
4 or 5 or 6, I remember that I used to be uh, punished for not making it correctly. So
Hmm.
later, at the stage of eighth or ninth, when I started working on my subjects or started focusing more on my study, then I got some ideas to how to make it possible for me.
Right.
And
Okay.
that is what I just simplified it. Like
Hmm.
if I take a tense
So
simple,
from that experience, you learned that
yeah, then I
right.
would teach like a simple present or simple past at one time, so that I could make them understand
Hmm.
what is the difference, how do or does works, and how did differs, and how the past is more easier than present.
Interesting. Very makes sense.
because because there you are you have to change do
Hmm.
or does according to the subjects, but here
Subject.
you do not have to worry about the subjects, only did will work. And
Right.
once you use do does or did, it will always take base form of verb, and
Right.
not the verb form will not change.
Correct.
So these are the techniques that I try
Hmm.
and then apply them on the students.
Very true. See, our experience as students in the school have also sort of helped us to as teachers. We want to avoid doing certain things because as children also when like you pointed out how your teacher punished you for not getting the answers right, but that was not the right
Right,
methodology. It is simply punishing. It's no solution really. In fact, the you can punish a student if the student is deviating, like in terms of behavior, very rude or breaking rules basically, so to instill some
right,
fear in their minds. But because they're not able to answer, and since they do not know, it is your failure as a teacher, to be very frank. So we want to avoid that, and we want to adopt a different methodology for students to understand, not really pushing them or instilling fear in them, instilling humiliation in them also,
right,
shouting at them in front of the whole class. In my case, since I teach much older, they are not even children, but most of them are, not most of them, a few of them have had work experience also, like they are in their 20s, early 20s, till mid 20s, so 25, 22 to 25 at the most. So
right,
of course, there is no question of shouting at anyone, but the fact that at that age, sometimes what happens is, uh, I face the challenge of sometimes I face the challenge of my students knowing it all. They know it already. This is very simple. That kind of
yeah,
approach they sometimes may have.
right,
They want to advance advance the level of the subject all of a sudden. When I ask them a trick question, sometimes they're not able to answer. So that I observe is a pattern in today's because I've been teaching for 13 years. So uh, I do see a pattern that students are uh, more than teachers, they need to have patience as students to,
Right.
to learn a subject, because
Yeah.
they get bored, or they lose interest, or their mind sort of keeps shifting from one subject to another, one topic to another. So as a teacher, it's challenging to hold their attention for a long period of time. That's what I have experienced. But luckily,
Right.
it's not been it's been a smooth ride overall. But what about in your case? Like, have you had interference from parents also, or from the higher ups in the institution that you work in? That this is how you should teach. The students should also like you or bond well with you. Only then they will be focusing in your subject. Like these kind of talks where you have to make sure that the students gel well with you in order to sort of give more attention to your subject, because many teachers also are told, I see my colleagues also, they tell me how the management tells them that this, you have to be a little lenient, can't be strict all the time, and all those things. So what are your thoughts? Have you experienced any, or generally what are your thoughts on uh, someone else telling you how students should behave with you and how you should behave with the students in
Right.
order to have a
So,
positive?
like I explained earlier, that most of the time I teach home tuitions only. So,
Okay.
once or twice it has happened with me that the parents were not happy with my way of teaching. So
Hmm.
they fired me and they
Okay.
hired another tutor for their children. So from that experience, I learned that okay,
Hmm.
these are the things that I do not have to repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And
Correct.
after that, I generally
But it
follow
has
the
not
same.
been the interference, or these things have not been incessant or continuous. And just a few, on few
Yeah,
occasions, you have experienced
yeah. On few occasions, I
uh,
have
heard it.
experienced these things. And after that, when I changed myself, then the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that I do is to understand the student's mentality as well, that why
Right.
he is unable to grasp it. That
Mm.
if I'm breaking it down in such a simple way,
Mm-hmm.
even after that he is unable to understand it, then
Right.
what is there for me to do?
Correct.
Or is there anything else that he or she wants?
Right. That's a
So
very good
in
look
those
at.
cases, I mean, if students are not ready to work harder,
Mm-hmm.
I just complain to their parents that look, whatever I had
Right.
to do,
Of course.
I have done my part.
Right.
Now he or she will have to work
Of
hard.
course. Yes.
So
As they
you
say
have to
that you
take
can
care of,
only
yeah,
bring the hordes, if bring a thirsty horse to the pond or to a
yeah,
body of water. The horse has to
right,
drink the water. You cannot make the horse drink water. So that's
right,
very true. And this is actually a very valid point, that as a teacher, we can work hard on a student. We can change our methodology and that is the most that we can do. Beyond that, the student has to, in fact, it should be a 60-40 ratio, in my opinion. 60% is the perseverance, dedication, and hard work of the student, and
right,
40% should be the teacher's work. But sometimes
right,
what happens is the ratio overturns, and the ratio is reversed. The parents
yeah.
expect 60%. You work more hard. Why is my son not getting these concepts? So the teacher must work harder on that student. So that should not be the approach, actually. Yeah.
And that is relevant to some extent as well, because sometimes, like I explained my part, that
Mm,
I was unable to understand. I was unable to understand. I was not working hard as well
mm,
as a
mm,
kid when I said that I was not interested in studying at all.
mm.
So it was from both way. Like one side, I was not working hard
Exactly.
and I was unable to understand as well.
And
So
on the other side, the
like
teacher was not really
uh,
making a
yeah,
lot of effort.
from the other side, the teacher was teaching from his method only, that okay, so if somebody is able to understand, why not you? You should be punished for this. He was
Right.
not ready to change his methodology, and I was not able to grasp, I was not able to work hard. But in some cases, if the teacher is ready, and then students get attracted to that as well. Like
Right.
once he get interest in doing that, he starts working hard.
Right.
So
Very true.
so it is, I
Both
mean, the
ways.
both way.
Both
It
ways.
works both ways.
But see, with that being said, the fact is that These days, students tend to expect a lot from their teachers. I have experienced that when I was teaching students pursuing undergraduate courses, where they have lot of subjects, lot of assignments, and they have come right up. They have come to college right after completing their 12th board exam. So they have studied rigorously earlier. So they want an environment where they have time for extracurricular activities and all. So in
Yeah.
that pursuit, they ask a lot from the teachers, right? From question banks to ready-made answers. They simply want to study them, clear the exams, and move ahead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that culture needs to be, and then when that doesn't happen, students get quite annoyed, with the teacher, and the parents will start questioning and all. I've not experienced to that extent, but I've seen my colleagues, when they were teaching, I could see they were working very hard. But these are something there are some things the students must work on. A teacher cannot
Right.
help, especially
Yeah.
the study part. How much we cannot really give you a ready-made answer and only base include those questions which I have already shared with you. It's almost like giving away the question paper. So I mean
Right.
that culture should be discouraged, I believe. Um, Again, I would stick to the fact that a teacher can only give 40%. It should not even be 50-50. Students' effort should be 60%, more than 50, because it's at the end of the day
Yeah.
students' knowledge. And student has to work hard really to obtain that knowledge and all that. But today's children are, quite demanding. Even parents are quite demanding. They want to just quickly ensure the marks are high somehow.
Right. Right. And this is the very valid point that you raised, that we should not encourage the culture of mugging up, like
Hmm.
providing everything to the students, and they will just mug up and write them
Exactly.
in their exam.
Right.
So this is something that I also avoid. Like some
Hmm.
people ask me that what kind of the important questions
Hmm.
that would
Right.
come in exam.
Right.
I mean, I cannot say what is the important. If you
Right.
have to work, you should work on the whole chapter and not
Exactly.
on the
It's like
important
it is
questions.
almost like asking that in a particular subject, if you give away the important questions as per your understanding, it means that the other aspects of the subject are not important. Then why did I
Yeah.
teach you in the first place? It's not
And
important then.
sometimes also, like the students are demanding your answers. Like, how would
Hmm.
I
They
answer
would
this
not come up with
question?
their own
So the
answers.
answer for this question, if I will write answer for the question, what will you do? You will
Exactly.
only mug up and then repeat it.
Write your
It's better
answer. So
that write your answer in your own words, not
absolutely.
from any, like what do we say? I mean, in Hindi we say kunji, or I just forgot.
Uh,
Like from any question bank or something where the
right.
answers
Any
are written,
literature.
you
Right.
don't have to mug up and then put it
Exactly. Yes.
in your answer
See,
sheet.
in my opinion, see, I teach economics. So some of the concepts, like at a very basic level, you have to memorize those concepts. But beyond that, like you said, the interpretation, understanding, and if the questions are twisted a little bit, or they are asked in a different manner, which tests your comprehension, then you should be able to explain. So up to a certain level, memorization is important. For instance, even in maths, the formulas have to
Yeah.
be memorized. But beyond that, how
Right.
to apply those formulas need your own interpretation. I mean, simply many times the entire process is memorized. The entire process of solving a sum also is memorized by the students. It should not be the case. And then if there is any change in the question, they complain the question is very tough. Question paper was very tough and all those things. So that must be
Yeah.
discouraged. So teachers must take a stand, even if they and management must support that. Many times management don't support. They are in the student side, on the student side, and they want to make it easier for the students and their parents.
Yeah, because they are focusing more on the on I mean results, that
100%
this
result
many number of students have uh, uh,
cleared.
cleared the exam with this much percentage.
Right, right, yes. Anyway, so as at a very micro level, as a teacher, I feel we have to be a little idealistic and do what we can, and and give our best basically.